not to leave your girdle on the bathroom floor. You are not to ask for hand. You are not to ever again mention the bride catalog's return policy. You are not allowed to eat Wendy's in bed. Tell Wendy I can hear her.
Ever wonder what Melania Trump's silence really means? Bill Maher believes it's her way of communicating loud and clear about her scripted role in a marriage of branding, not love. The juicy twist? Trump's furious response reveals much more about their dynamic than anyone expected. Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. When Bill Maher took the mic during his monologue, he offered something a little different from the usual jabs at politics. This time, he zeroed in on Melania Trump, specifically her marriage to Donald. Now, if you've ever wondered why Melania's public persona feels muted to say the least, Maher seems to think he's cracked the code. He didn't just speculate, he threw out a satirical list of so-called marriage rules that painted their relationship in a more brutal light than almost anyone else dared to. But of course, Maher wasn't just being funny. There was sharp critique layered beneath the laughs.
I copied this list from Michelle Obama. Sometimes when I bounce light off my diamond, Donald's hair will chase it like a cat. I wish I knew why I have a recurring dream I'm pinned beneath a giant orange sack of shit. And if I could tell my younger self just one thing, it would be this. If you catch a leprechaun and he gives you one wish, be more specific.
Let's break it down. Maher kicked things off with a mock insider's guide to how Melania allegedly operates within her marriage. The rules as he presented them were absurd on the surface. Exactly what you'd expect from a comedian. Like his quip, never ask about Barron unless you want absolute silence in return. Or the outrageous claim that Melania's wedding gown came with a receipt and a 30-day return policy. Sure, they earned him laughs from the live audience, but each rule subtly turned the focus back to uncomfortable questions about the Trumps. Was this comedy? Yes. Was it also a breakdown of the strange, almost business-like vibe between the two? Absolutely. Maher didn't stop there. He suggested that Melania's role in the marriage, and by extension the Trump brand, is less about love and partnership and more about optics. To Maher, it's cold and transactional, as if she's less of a spouse and more of an extension of Trump's image. The silent aura she carries around in public. He joked it might be because Trump in her presence has already hit a word count she'll never catch up to. The crowd laughed, but the underlying critique made it hard not to see her silence in a completely different light.
His name is Barron and he's our son. Stop asking who's the kid. When I say I love you, do not reply with you're welcome. If I say jump, you I'd like to see that. You must at least consider drinking or whatever else will put you to sleep.
That silence has always been one of Melania Trump's most fascinating attributes. For years, people have speculated about what it means. Is it restraint, indifference, some kind of quiet retribution for living her life under, let's be honest, her husband's chaotic spotlight? Maher pushed that ambiguity front and center, pointing out that in a world where politicians' spouses are expected to smile, hold hands, and defend their partners publicly, Melania remains more distant. He even joked she's probably more loyal to her stilettos than her wedding vows. Ouch. But the satire went beyond the personal. Maher took aim at something even bigger, the cultural obsession with appearances over substance. By using Melania as a symbol, he suggested that the entire Trump era ran on a similar fuel, looking shiny and impressive on the surface, while leaving everyone to wonder what's really happening behind closed doors. It's no secret that the Trumps have always sold their relationship as glamorous and successful, but once you see it through the lens of Maher's monologue, that surface-level perfection looks more like a carefully managed product than genuine affection.
We're not to look at a single girl. I am allowed to do a phone check whenever I please. You are not to get mad at me about a single thing I ever do. Apparently this is catching on, and a lot of women are doing this now. We got a hold of Melania's list. I don't know if you'd like to, but these are her rules. You are never to take longer than 10 minutes to text me back. You are not to ask for head, and no, this is real. So,
and here's the kicker. This biting satire landed with even more force because Maher never outright called Melania a victim. He avoided easy narratives like poor Melania, trapped in a terrible marriage. Instead, he kept his jokes balanced on the edge, implying that she plays her part in this spectacle willingly, or at least with full awareness. His audience didn't hear about a damsel in distress. They heard about someone who understands the role she's playing in the Trump brand better than most people. By the end of the set, Maher had done more than just make a few quick marriage jokes. He essentially held up a mirror to the Trump's public image and suggested it's all one big performance. And while Melania's silence screams disinterest to some, to Maher, it's her ultimate commentary on the arrangement she's in. Stay quiet, show up when scheduled, and ride the wave of wealth and status without asking questions. It's tough to say whether Maher meant his monologue to be purely funny or brutally insightful, but either way, it did both. Now, if you're thinking, wow, Trump's not gonna let this slide, you'd be exactly right. The former president is known for many things: grudges, drama, and an explosive reaction to even the smallest digs. But as Maher's jokes lingered in the public sphere, there was a sense that they sunk in deeper than usual. Everyone knew he wouldn't just sit in silence like Melania. No, this was the kind of jab that was guaranteed to hit a nerve. And judging by what happened next, it hit harder than anyone expected. Because if there's one thing Maher's humor confirmed, it's that the Trump's so-called perfect image might be more carefully stitched together than we ever guessed. And nothing makes Donald Trump angrier than watching it be torn apart, especially on live television. When Bill Maher decided to crack open the mystery of Melania Trump's quiet life inside her marriage, nobody doubted it would get under Donald Trump's famously thin skin. But what nobody quite predicted was just how far Trump would go to fire back. If Maher's jokes were sharp, Trump's reaction was practically nuclear. He took to his favorite hangout, Truth Social, and went on a rant that immediately made headlines. In classic Trump fashion, the insults flew fast. He called Maher a befuddled mess, and of course rolled out his evergreen accusation of Trump derangement syndrome, a term he's used so often that it might as well be trademarked at this point.
Melania Trump has been in the news a lot lately. I was talking about her in the monologue, and she's on the cover of Us Weekly with this cover, my side of the story. All the stars do it. Tim Gunn has done it. You have his, he'll be out here in a minute, and I did it. It's practically a rite of passage. You have mine, there you go. In Slovenia, I was a catalog model, which is what you call a model you order out of a catalog. I have no first language. I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money.
But here's where things got even more bizarre. Trump wasn't content to just swipe at Maher. No, he decided to broaden the fight and drag in seemingly unrelated figures into his meltdown. He took a shot at Bret Stephens, telling him to find himself another line of work, which felt like a completely random swing. And for reasons only Trump could probably explain, he brought Laura Loomer into the mix. It was deflection, sure, but it was the kind of chaotic energy only Trump could muster, like trying to gaslight social media into forgetting Maher's actual point. And really, this overreaction plays right into Maher's hands. The whole point of Maher's routine was to highlight how tightly controlled, cold, and image-obsessed the Trump's marriage seems from the outside. So when Trump's first instinct is to rage online and spew defensive comments, it only reinforces Maher's critique. Think about it. A relaxed, happy person doesn't spend their evening writing angry posts to prove they're not bothered.
But there's an amazing story. A man bought a used car and he found something that somebody left in the car, which was a list of 22 relationship rules. Valentine's Day was yesterday. Did you have a good time? We thought we would and save this for Valentine's Day. It's been floating around the internet for a couple of months that the previous car owner's girlfriend had laid out for this guy. And the guy posted it on the internet. This is real, and it became viral. Things like, you are not to have a single girl's phone number.
Then there's the personal tone of the rant. Trump's defensive tone about his marriage is the real giveaway here. He's exceptionally sensitive whenever people critique not just his policies or his character, but his personal life. It's why he's lashed out in other cases where his relationships were questioned. It hits at the vulnerability he tries so desperately to mask. He cracked jokes about Maher being ratings challenged and painted himself, as usual, as the victim of unfair attacks. But all this noise about Maher only ended up amplifying the original jokes. In other words, Trump's outrage didn't squash the mockery, it put it on a billboard. Satire isn't just about laughs, it's a magnifying glass, and Bill Maher used it to zoom in on Donald and Melania's glossy manufactured image. His mock rules and jabs, like calling Melania's Secret Service codename "that poor woman," made a bigger point. How much of what we see is branding versus reality? Trump's meltdown only amplified the joke, exposing his need to protect the facade. It's a reminder that even the most powerful figures are not immune to insecurity. So was this just a comedy routine or a spotlight on something deeper? Maybe that's for you to decide.